Sure, I've got all my checks on. Mic is live. Display looks good. Let's see what else we can do. So how's your Saturday treating you so far? Excuse me. Well, think about it in concept. Here you have someone starting out getting to stream, and then they already have somebody waiting and eager for you to start the day. That's an amazing feeling. Although, I guess in industry, it's a little bit opposite, where if you have a customer clamoring at the door, wanting in before the shift starts, it can be a little eh. But in this case, it's greatly welcomed. So thank you. I know I try not to be that person. I usually try to give them at least 10 to 15 minutes before the start of their day. That way they can do the shop opening requirements. Because I know in my industry, that first call of the day, it's going to be the telltale sign of it. It's like either this is going to be a great day or a rough day, depending on how this goes. So how's Saturday treating you so far? Are you working again? I hate dealing with customers. They're not too bad. It just depends on the circumstances. Where I'm in IT, I usually deal with them at their absolute worst, where something's severely broken and they're not happy. But the circumstances are understandable. Not much going on this weekend. That's sometimes a blessing in of itself. I love the quiet weekends. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Unless it's for a fun project or you get some extra financial gain from it. Working weekends is awful. Alright, so I think I teleported to the right spot, because... yeah. Oh, good. That's encouraging on its own, of where if I know if I just get through this next hurdle, it'll be the weekend and it'll return to normal. Now I've got to reacclimate to the controls because I was playing Monster Hunter, so everything's going to feel a little weird for a bit. Very true. Time does seem to fly. Especially for like this year, of where it's already March. True. I think that's one of the consequences of aging. Of when you were younger, the summers and other things seemed eternal. And now that you're older, you're like, oh, it's been 4 months. Whoops. It does. It really does. Which is its own curse. I think I saw a kind of post a long time ago of when you're a kid, there's so many games and things that you want to do, but you don't have the means to do them. And then when you're an adult, you have the means, but not the time. I still want to be a kid. I don't know, I kind of wrestle with that, where on one hand, it would be nice to be able to go back with the wisdom I have now, or at least the life lessons I have now, but I don't know if I'd want to give up the freedoms that I have. Waylaid by a bat. Oh, hello. Very true. I think it does heavily depend on the household you grew up in or the environment. Because for some it would be a no-brainer to return. Others it would be a fate worse than death. And for the latter, I hope they found happiness later on. Or at least peace. Sleeping is peace? It depends. If you can actually get good sleep. But it is its own kind of respite, for sure. I may have wasted that, but oh well. I anticipated them giving a little bit more trouble than they actually did. Oh, you're a self-professed night owl? I used to be. But the older I've gotten, the more I realize, like, come 9, 10 o'clock, I am mentally worthless after those hours. I can certainly stay up if need be, but higher cognitive function betrays me. It's like, nope, I left. The lights are on, but nobody's home. I know in some of our TTRPGs we play, it's the very same problem of where we're all a bit older adults. After the 10 o'clock mark, we're like, okay, no, let's just start earlier next time. You know, that's probably a very sound bet. I'll either be an artist, or I have yet to block it. I forgot to do that before this stream, of the Stream Boo advertisements. I'm betting on at least one of those. But that's alright, it still counts as engagement. Am I all set? Yes and no. I think I have all of the technical side down of where I have the softwares and things. But as far as the level of commitment needed to make it thrive, I'm starting to question. Because while I enjoy my little one-off streams and the company that it brings, I don't think it'll be anything more than this, because I lack the wherewithal or the fortitude to go out and do all the networking-related activities. Like, for example, I set up a X/Twitter account begrudgingly, and started to get some engagement there, but it just felt wrong in some ways to kind of self-promote. So I don't know if I'm good at that aspect of it. But from the technical perspective of I have my mic, I have my games, I think I'm all set. The biggest hurdle I'll have is what games to play after, say, like Black Myth Wukong. I'm not opposed to it, but I have severe reservations about going into, say, Elden Ring Night Ring. Just because I really don't enjoy the where are we dropping Fortnite style of very quick matches. But then I had to do a little bit of soul searching and wonders, like, well, isn't that essentially what you do when you get summoned in Elden Ring normally? So I'm kind of on the fence with that one. Very true. And like we were saying before, of if the audience doesn't grow, so long as I have 2 or 3, or even just one individual that I enjoy talking with, then it's worth it for me. Because that's what I set out to do. I think the fallacy is when someone expects to go big and go viral, and to have a sea of thousands watching them at all times, they've just set themselves up for disappointment. And yes, I never got into the Fortnite genre of gaming of... I guess it's my aversion to PvP. What really stems in it is I love the collaborative aspect of summon a person and you can play a game together. But if you go out with the intent just to harm or cause others frustration, that's really not a gaming style that I enjoy. And for this one, I think I can't advance any further, so I'm gonna pop back to a shrine. They're also hard to watch, I will admit, because usually the person behind the controller is either already tilted, on their way to be tilted, or they're beyond frustrated. And to me, the world is toxic enough. I don't need that kind of in my leisure hours. But that's just my personal preference. I know they're largely popular, especially the FPS genre. They seem to be really hitting it off. But at the same token, I think that's largely in part because people crave the drama. That's why soap operas and other things are so popular. Very true. If that's the kind of community you want, it's very easy to build that kind because it's so prevalent. Like we talked about last time during the Small Land stream, something cozy is what I'm certainly after. Where you can just hang out, have some fun games together, maybe go on to the co-op side of things. I don't know if I'll have enough interest to really kind of gather that kind of following, but I would love to see it if those of my community are more of the, I don't want to say super positive because there's a danger in that, but more of just the uplifting and helpful kind. The variety streamers, yeah, I think those have a little bit more freeing experience. Gonna need some mods for sure. I think that's indicative of growth, of where when you're just starting out, you can manage a lot of it on your own, or at least I'm stubbornly trying to do so. But definitely, as you grow, mods are quintessential. I was watching a streamer the other day, and it was so seamless on how they entered their polls and other things, and largely it was because of the work behind the scenes by the mods. Don't ever make you a mod? No, I'd much rather you just be able to enjoy the stream as you do, rather than the added pressure of it becoming a job. You've got enough of that already. No, I believe somebody should only be a mod cautiously if they want to be a mod, because you have to be careful. Some people go on power trips when they get even a modicum of abilities. But in your case, I don't think that would be a risk. But likewise, I wouldn't want to subject somebody to something they don't want to do. I see you back there. Oh, no worries at all. Again, I'm just thrilled to have the chats. So whenever they come in, I always treat them as welcomed entries. Because I likewise may delay my responses whenever I'm in a boss fight. And sadly, they're all too common. I've noticed that of where... I don't know if it's just because they have little control over their life and they tried to enact it on some randoms on the internet, or if there's something deeper rooted there, but you just have to be careful when you're appointing mods or any kind of admin powers. I think one of the telltale signs is when someone is clamoring for it. Of where they start out early, they're over-enthusiastic. And there's nothing wrong with the denial either. It's a welcome gesture, because that means that the streamer trusts you, or the content creator trusts you, but you always have the right to refuse for your own comfort too. Because this is supposed to be leisure activity for everyone involved. The moment it becomes a job, it becomes a chore. And the same goes for the streamers. If they're beating themselves up or just, I don't want to say emotionally deflated, but where they have no real enthusiasm behind it anymore, that's when it's become a job for them and they need to do some soul searching. So even if somebody willfully promotes you, you can choose, be like, nope, I don't wanna. That's clever. It's one of those, don't tempt me, I'll do it, I'll demote myself. Ah, that's smart. I'm trying to remember who's through here. Because I thought she was the first. Oh goodness, we've got quite a few. Oh, Erlang's through here? Ugh. I mean, I guess so, because he's in the hidden area, but... Oh, like, I don't think I'm quite warmed up enough yet, but let's give Miss Long a try. Because this is one of my all-time favorite fights in this. Oh. Poor guy. It definitely sounds like there's a story behind it. What were you testing live while the streamer was going? Ooh. Chomp. Well, we're off to a fun start. short. Excuse me. Pilgrim mode still far too easy. I do way too much damage in it. Let me try that one again. Oh, good. So no hurt feelings there. And being on the Discord, you can kind of explain what happened afterwards. That Elder did. Wind. Oh no, this fight is so amazing. Because it actually moves like a dragon would. Where she's using her elevation to her advantage. See if I can smack her. Stagger. Yes. And yes, you do find out later that it is a lady dragon. There are 4 brother dragons in this one. There we are. But no, there are 4 brothers that are dragons. And then this one is a lady, as I can't remember if canonically she is. But she's tied to the Dawn Star. I want to see the pretty lady. Try to think if they'll actually show... Let's see. I know they'll show her in her boss fight. So let's go to that one. It is. Let me see where this is. Can I brew it from here? May have skipped her. Where is it? Non-Wyke. There we are. So this is in her long form, and then they've shortened it to her semi-humanoid form. This fight's not the greatest, but I'll go ahead and go to it just so we can take a look at her. It won't show the cutscene with her and Zubaji, but it should show her model enough. And I'll see if I can get close enough. The other lady you might like is one of the 4 sisters. Problem is, though, they're actually spiders, so that might be detrimental. See, how's her true form? I don't think I can do anything about it in this mode. I think she's too high up. Yeah. The spider lady is really pretty. I actually saw an amazing cosplay of the spider lady that I thought was in-game footage. Definitely more dangerous. The spider sisters were kind of a dawdle when I went through and fought them the first time. This one gave me a little bit of trouble. And since we're on the long fights, I'll show you one of the brothers. I know that white summon, they give it to you so early, yet it is so useful. That and Guanji as well. I think I used both of those summons and abilities my entire playthrough. I didn't see the need to switch. I'm trying to get him before he phase shifts, but he might be here shortly. There we go. The Cyan Long, I think, is one of the best brothers because he actually looks like a proper dragon. I don't really like the Black Long because he's a very tubby little dragon. It just doesn't scream it to me, but the Cyan Long and the Red Longs were really cool. Broke his horn. Yeah, sorry. But neat that it actually has that. Oh, yes. WuKong is a menace historically, and his successor is as well. And I admit, these are some of the more confusing boss fights. Captain Lotus Vision, Wise Voice, all of the ones that are subservient to the Rat Guai. I don't understand them at all. But that may just be where I am unfamiliar with the lore. Because they're just weird. You'll see in just a moment. Oh, and I started off with this one. Gross. See how weird this fight is? It's just an unusual one. Oops. does. It, in part, looks like a statue come to life, but the abilities and everything that it does are just bizarre. But then again, the whole prison scene in this chapter was one of those left you kind of scratching your head like, why is this a thing? I can also fight this one, because you have to fight 3 out of the 4 of the captains. Because the 4th captain you just find, slain in the snow, and you just pick up his item. But here's another kind of strange one of where it's for lack of a better description, an alien statue. Yeah, there's 3 of these. And you can only damage him by hitting his hand. Or this. Once he comes down to your level. Nice finish. Headbutt wins again. And no, they don't. Because even in Chapter 5, the Bishu Beast, I can kind of make concession for once you realize that it's supposed to be the Bull King's mount. But these guys, I don't get them. Especially where you encounter them. Because when you're going through the game, after you defeat the Jinlong and the Silver Dragon Lady, you actually fall through the ice and get transported to the prison. Which I suppose I should do, just to kind of show you what that looks like. Because of all the areas, I think the prison was... It's a tie between the prison and Chapter 5 as my least favorites. Because when you're in the Pagoda realm. Because it just seemed weird of where you go from this beautiful snowy area to this prison that... I don't mean to besmirch it too much, but it reminds me of someone watched Elden Ring and decided, ooh, I like From Software's Legacy Dungeons. I'm going to make one myself. And you end up with this. So you have this giant pagoda, and when you first arrive here, Captain Y's voice is actually influencing the area, so occasionally you go into what I would like to call a rage mode, where your eyes go red and everything starts attacking you that much more aggressively. But your health gradually declines. So it's high risk, high reward, because your attack goes up, but your health goes down at the same. And you have to fight your way out of here. I forgot I never came back for that. And that's probably why. It's not that I needed it. And the other kind of negative thing I'll say about this area is, up to this point in the game, there have been invisible walls to prevent you from falling off ledges. And your character's intuitive enough when you approach a ledge, he'll kind of flail his arms and stand on one foot to show that no, I can't go past here. This is one of the few areas in the game that you can actually fall off the ledge. So fall damage becomes a thing. Oh, I forgot to mention, in the kind of rage mode when Y's voice is singing, there's these hidden enemies as well that look like jailers. And they're really cool. Oh yes, you die. When you fall in this one, it either does immense damage to you, and you can live depending on how big your health bar is, or, oh, the prince isn't here anymore. Or it's a one-shot and you respawn at your last shrine, which can be a bit frustrating given how far apart these are, and how tedious the area is to go through. Just a random skeleton. Yeah, so I was singing the game's praises early on for like, oh, that's nice. They don't let you go down certain ledges, and they warn you. But here they remove those barriers. So I was like, that just wasn't nice. So I kind of did it backwards, but you actually open up one of these early cells, and then you make your way this way. Ah, very true. Between ledges, ladders, and certain areas, Elden Ring is a bit unforgiving. And for an innocuous reason, too, so if you don't mind, I'm actually gonna pop over and say that's allowed. 'Cause that's just silly. There are far worse things to mod. Yeah, it doesn't block what you think it should, and it blocks something that you're just like, why was that blocked? And see, like, they put enemies purposefully on the ledge. That can cause issues. There we go. And I forgot you are alive. You gave me a nasty hug the last time. There we go. And I'm trying to remember if it's this way. That causes a lot of frustration for people. That should be open already. Oh, no trouble at all. Again, where we're just starting out the stream today, we've got plenty of time, so if you have it running in the background, and as long as it's not harming your viewing experience too severely, the delay on my end is completely fine. Now, if it's messing with the audio and that sounds awful, my apologies, because listening to me is bad enough as is. Can't imagine what it sounds like with any jitter or latency. That's still plenty of time.
就乖乖坐着悟道。
And speaking about the stream schedule, I was debating, kind of looking ahead at things. I don't know what day would be best, but I was thinking about Monday evening streams as well. Although that may be too late in the day for you. Because where I'm Eastern Standard, I think that'll cause way too long. And this is not the ledge, but this is one of the ledges that causes trouble. Because there's an archer that I took care of while I was invisible here. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen players go across that bridge and prematurely jump trying to attack him and end up falling. And depending on their health bar, it can be fatal. It would probably be around 6 or 7 Eastern Standard Time would be start. They die, they die. Fair enough. I actually upgraded my cloud step for that very reason, because there's another ledge coming up that has 2 archers, and invariably they will shoot you off of it every time. This guy's fun. That's what I was afraid of even if I was able to do so during the week, I don't think it would hit within your target range. Because I think that's true for a lot of them. And where we had that nice discussion about the VODs, it may not be worth it. So yeah, we made it to the shrine, and that boss I fought that looked like the alien, that's his arena down there. So you've been sequestered to this jail, and then you fight that creepy looking thing. Yeah, I was debating on the use of clips or shorts. Because it seems that, just from my other streaming friends and things, that YouTube promotes the shorts more than they do live streams. So it's just trying to pit the algorithms against themselves. Excuse me. And I thought this was a really pretty area. After fighting that Captain Wise voice, you're dropped out here, the one that has the kind of orb as its face. And I thought this was a really nice kind of reprieve from that. It really doesn't. I've noticed that. That's why I kind of just decided to upload my past streams as VODs, rather than dual stream. Because it kind of decomplicates the setup as well. Then, where Twitch was built for streaming, it makes much more sense. YouTube I always thought of either as long form or just video consumption. Because I know it's got a chat feature and everything now, but it feels weird. And this I thought was sneaky. They put an item right here thinking like, oh, you'll just stop here and grab the item and press on. But in truth, you can break that and jump behind it for a hidden mini-boss. Who I think is still there. And let's go to 3 on this one. Ooh, interesting. Never had that happen. I wonder if that was a glitch, or if he can actually do that. And the reason why you want to come back here is because if you're like me and you wanted to 100% the game, there's a hidden meditation spot. That wall's texture didn't load in as expected, so you can see it highly rasterized. That's alright. It's still a gorgeous game, especially with all the particle effects. To gush a little bit further about it, I really think Black Myth WuKong ticks off all the boxes for me, because it is such a 1, beautiful game, 2, fun to play, and then 3, it has such an enriched lore and soundtrack that they went far above and beyond what normal game studios do nowadays, that it truly sets itself apart. Like, case in point, the animations at the end of the chapters. They did not have to put that much effort into those. They could have easily done a CG cutscene and pressed on, and no one would have complained. But the fact that they went that far in and did that beautiful hand-drawn animation, not to mention the heart-wrenching stories behind those animations, that's kind of why I was lamenting, where it's just like, I honestly don't know what to go to after this, because this is such an exquisite experience that everything else would be just pale in comparison. And like, I know this is silly, but at the end of chapter 2, you got the story of the snow fox in claymation style. I was so pleased to find out that you could actually help her exact her revenge against the monk that ended her days. So that was such a nice little experience that is completely missable. Because you just happen upon a corpse that's wearing this fox scarf. Because again, they did such a beautiful job incorporating so many layers and facets of lore that you can play the game either just straight through and treat it like a boss rush game, or you can really just immerse yourself in the world. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Because he's still a ways yet. Oh, the Inn Tiger. Ugh, that'll be a fun fight. A lot of bosses to get through for this one. Just continue to be a menace on the stairs. I think we're getting close. I don't remember if this is where non-white is yet. I think he's further ahead. Or non-able, sorry. Non-able's the one you find in the field. Non-white is the monk. I mean, technically they're all monks, but... I'm trying to think. Let's see. I thought there was a little shrine here. Memory does serve. Because the Bitter Lake is where you can fight the Longs, the Turtles, and at Jeopardy Road Temple entrance. I already fought her there. Trying to remember if there's anything on the North Shore, other than a couple pretty areas. Let's go check those out. And yes, I'm absolutely padding the runtime by just aimlessly walking around, but I don't think there's a complaint there. Because there is the Turtle General, who is absolutely massive. It was on his back that the Cyan Long was hiding. And this is also where you fight Shenlong, one of the Zodiac dragons. This one was dragon heavy. They do, especially where they lay so still as if they're stone themselves. And I like this little house, or at least the concept of it, but the problem is, if the tide comes in, it has no chance against it. I think that's the pagoda that Erlong's hiding in later on. But yeah, that turtle is massive. Oh, thankfully that turtle is an ally, so no, you don't have to fight him. 'Cause I wouldn't even know where to begin to approach that one. You just say big monster and say, okay, let's go. He is quite huge. So we've got the longs, so we would have just beat the cyan long on the back of the turtle. And then she's up on the hillside. Chen Long is in the river next to us. Oh, not river, excuse me, the little bay. This is an adorable little fight. He's so whiny. You feel bad after fighting this one, though. Goodness, it's such far away from him. Ah, and in the challenge mode, you don't have Zubaji to help you. That's nice. I really like his design, though, because that's what I would picture a humanoid long looking like, where they have that exaggerated neck still. The black long, where it was squish, it didn't look quite right. Oh, this should be a little bit of a challenge, because the yen tiger is not an easy one. They look very snake-like. What got me later on was the tiger longs, where it's a snake but with a tiger's face. I thought that was an interesting creature. I've almost forgot how to fight him. He's such a cool character. There we go. I was very sloppy, though. Because you have to remember, that was on the easiest setting. I think you fight this one out in the field. This may be the later fight. Yeah, the Yin Tiger was a really fun challenge in the first playthrough. I honestly thought he was the hardest boss until I fought the Bishu Beast and Erlong. Oh, and lest I forget the Yellow Long. That one, oh man, Yellow Long was such a hard fight for me. That just deletes the health bars. So it reached him on that range. It's so inconsistent how far that leap actually goes. And this guy's just creepy. This is one of the quote-unquote 4 monks that are in servitude of Yellowbrow, and their names are puns on the Journey to the West cast. So you have like non-white, non-able, non-void as their puns or transcriptions of the existing cast names. So you have like the horse that carried the monk, Baji.
登台高坐。咋洗？入流。
There's my bet. There's the Steam Boo. Or Stream Boo. I need to block that. I'll do that after the stream. There still may be time yet. Although I think last I looked at Twitch, very few were actually playing Black Myth Wukong, or watching it. I think it's in the 3 digits rather than into the thousands. And I guess that's because the interest in the game has transpired, or it's run its course. Which is a shame. Because I was debating on, not on this profile maybe, but on a new one, might go through and make a brand new character at level 1. Because again, I'm debating on what to play next. I did see that they have a potential patch that's an unofficial one for Monster Hunter. But I don't know if I've missed the gambit on this one or not. It did. It's about, what is it, 6 months out past release now? And that's extensive for a game. Because it's got such a short lifespan nowadays of usually, what, 3 weeks tops for a game? It is an expensive one, yeah. And that's if you decide to go with, what, just the base version? Is the quote-unquote collector's edition, where you just buy the cosmetics, was almost $100 converted to USD. So I can't imagine. Probably in the 2s to 3s, depending. And I'd make the argument it's largely not worth it, especially where it's barely playable on most systems.
无知，手射，
And I'd get it if it was to the same caliber and quality as, say, Black Myth, where on launch it was a completely playable game. But where it's having so many issues, I can't justify that price tag. That would be ideal. That way it actually converts over to the local currency, rather than they're just preconceived, this is what we're going to charge, and never mind your conversion rates. Because for me, it's always looking at the opportunity cost of, if I put that amount on the table, what can I actually get for it? And in most cases, the opportunity cost for something else exceeds it. It's like, I could buy this, or I could buy 2 weeks worth of groceries. That's why I really appreciate games that offer demos, because if you get to try it out beforehand and really determine you like it, that's so much better. Oh, they really got the lighting wrong on this arena. Because this was dark the first time I fought him. I don't know if the texture didn't change, or if they purposely brightened it.
再添几分火候。
That is also true. The price of groceries has gone up astronomically lately. It definitely reminded me of it, especially with the fiery rings. But I think the rumor mill says that Neza may appear in the DLC, or may be getting their own spin-off game. Which I would be all for in either case. Although, to be fair, he did appear briefly in, I think, Chapter 5's cutscene. At the very end. Because he helped seal the old bull. And that's another cool design too. I like how it's reminiscent of the old monk that you find on Blackridge Mountain. I think that's what it's called. Oop, didn't mean to challenge again. Whoops. That's right, this is just practice, because I am kind of delaying for Erlong. That's a long fight. And I'm debating on changing equipment and stuff out for it. Am I going to beat all the bosses? Yes. Eventually. I'm kind of going through and just re-challenging them all on the lowest difficulty, and then I may go through again and challenge them on the next difficulty. Because I'd like to get to the point where I can do some of the Gauntlet of the Rivals, but I'm thinking go through and do the Return of the Rivals first, just so I can reacclimate to them. So we've already taken care of Chapter 1, and we're working our way through Chapter 2, or 3. And I'm kind of interspersing it with walkthroughs of the areas that I enjoyed. That's why I kind of skipped over the Yellow Ridge. Because it's okay. It's a nice area, but not my favorite. And especially without Lingji narrating and singing your way along, that's just sad. I miss the songs. The final boss is actually a fun fight. The fact that he's a 4-phaser is really fun. Oh, that just deletes the health bar. Essentially, yes, and I love what they did for lore reasons. Because WuKong's last obsession was to ensure that his successor would be better than him. And I love that he gets kind of a sense of closure and laughs as his final act. Welcome in, Famous Z. How are you doing today? Yeah, it's going very well so far. We're kind of working our way through the Chapter 3 bosses of Black Myth WuKong. If you were interested in the lore, Resurrect, there's a good channel on YouTube called It's Shatter, and he goes through and really dissects each of the lore and how it not only relates to the original journey, but also how it interplays with this own game itself. And Famous C, do I stream daily? Sadly no. I'm primarily on Saturdays. I doubt that, Resurrect. Okay, so this is kind of getting us to the monks. And the Cock Chief and Yellowbrow. So what I'll do is let me teleport us to that area. Maybe one of these days. When did I start streaming on Twitch? It would have been January of this year. So I'm kind of just starting out. Now we can kind of go through this area. Let's see. I'll show you the fox. Ah, very nice. How are you finding it so far? But earlier I was telling Resurrect about the fox that you can help by defeating the monk, and this is the poor body that was wearing her scarf, or wearing her as a scarf. And it's prevalently by the shrine, but you can easily miss it. And I really like your first introduction to this area. You can actually disguise yourself in the form of the fox and run through here without drawing aggro. So you get a nice scope of it, very much like you did in Chapter 1, where you transformed into the cicada. You can, but unfortunately the transformations are chapter restricted, so I don't think I can do it any longer. Let me actually double check that. Oh no, Famousy, I'm nowhere near becoming an affiliate. I've got the hours in, but the following and the, there's another criteria that I don't meet. So no, I'm unaffiliated. I don't think I can here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I can do that anymore, which is a shame. But yes, you can actually turn into this adorable little fox and run through. And they offer 2 transformations in this chapter, where you can turn into the fox and have full control, and the transition from the earlier chapter to where you fight the silver dragon, you actually turn into a bat. That's a little bit of a recycled enemy because we got to fight the bigger version of it, but I don't mind. And how have I been working towards achieving that? Well, step 1 is streaming. Because in order to attract anyone, I have to make myself live. And then some sub-advertising here and there, but not too much. And yes, that bat design is really cool. I like how they actually took reference for some of the older statues and wood carvings for it. And I forget, I don't think the giants respawn. But when you first come through here, there is an enormous guardian through this area that I think is what felled the other captain. I'll show you his corpse. Excuse me, I was minding my own business. I did. Just like this plant may get me too. Damn. Bad plant. There's another one of our bats. The sounds they make, it's like, ugh. Ooh, if I remember, there's... Are you the one that's troublesome? You might be. Yeah, this field in particular was hard your first time through, and I actually turned into the fox to avoid these enemies, because that blood captain is just up ahead. I was mistaken, this isn't quite the field where one has already fallen. This is heading towards his arena. Oh, that's wonderful to hear that you've got a friend who's also a streamer. What kind of games do they typically play? Or moreover, what do you enjoy watching? I can't remember the name of this temple, but it is impressive the way they've laid it out and the level of detail they put in it.
让我尝尝你嘴里的血。
Except for the discount Kratos. I think of that every time I see that enemy. I definitely appreciate the offer. And maybe that's something we can talk about offline. If you would, feel free to message me on Discord and we can talk about that further.
以杀后罚，功德无量。
I hadn't even thought of the prospect of potential collabs or anything like that yet. Because to be honest, I hadn't expected to hear from anyone in stream for a very long time. So the fact that anyone's chatting is delightful. We'll see. Splendid. I'll be sure to take a look at that afterwards. And thank you. And that makes sense, especially if he's a full-time content creator. Absolutely. If you'd like to add yourself to my Discord, there's a link down below. I have both the tile and in the About Me section, just for convenience. Gotta be careful and not aggro two of these at the same time. They are tanky. That's what I was afraid of. For the price of one. How nice. There we go. And this kind of area was also guarded by two large giants as well. It's kind of a shame that they don't respawn, as they were guarding either side. I can't tell you how long I spent in this area because I was farming enemies for the blindfold, and it was a relatively rare drop at the time, and it just took forever. I eventually spent an entire session with it, gave up, and then the very next day, kind of aimlessly said, okay, fine, I'll try it one more time. And of course, the next day is when it dropped. Yes, unfortunately they have percentage drops as well. I know, right? Not that I think that everything should be guaranteed, but having to grind for drops is just not fun. Although I suppose they kind of used it for a sense of longevity with the game. But now that we're in the temple, this is where we can fight some of the monks. Non-Void is the one that slew the fox. So I took great satisfaction in felling him. And you can actually use that fox transformation to get a special cutscene with him. Ah, perfect, Z. Thank you. I'll take a look at that afterwards. Strategically, I don't have Discord on the PC I game on. That way the notifications don't interrupt, and I don't get undue distractions while streaming, but I will certainly take a look at that afterwards. Yeah. And the trick with this boss is he has moments of invulnerability. So he can be quite annoying. And I suppose lore-wise, he followed Yellowbrow, so that's why he kind of looks corrupt. It would certainly hurt, because they have no hair or padding to prevent the blow. And then the fun part with this monk is that his boss told everyone to be on high alert that there's an invader into the temple, and he's just chilling out in his own little area, like, I can't be bothered. Oh, that'd be very appreciated, Z, but not expected. As I know it's always difficult to refer things. You never know someone's sense of taste. But if you think they'd find it worth the candle, by all means. So we're on the New West, and let's see, we're almost through most of these. Oh, the Macaque Chief's fun. If this one is as I expect it to be, it'll be a two-part fight. Oh, and I think the way I was approving that actually affects it, because I saw in green text, except Zubaji's aid. So that might be something interesting if I put it on the next mode. No, nothing against them. I'm just recognizing that they have no hair to kind of soften any blows, so it's full-on skull and flesh contact. If anything, they have my sympathies, because they have to be extra careful when they go out in the sun, because their head can be sunburned. And having that would be painful. Hey, Zubaji. I wonder if some setting has changed, because this was incredibly dark when I first fought him. Yes, it is. And I love the twist. As soon as you get taken out of the bag, you assume his form as you're going through the diorama. That is such a cool scene. And I wonder if they're going to shortchange you where you only get the final part of Yellow Brow's fight. Oh, everything's new to you? That's even better. Although I'm kind of cheapening your experience by playing it on the lower of the difficulties, because it is a masterpiece for sure, going through it. That might give me all the more reason to, on a Saturday, go through with a brand new character. Okay, so it does shortchange you. The original Yellow Brow is like a 4-part fight. Speedrun game, no fighting boss. I might. I'm currently on New Game +1 and at the Stone Monkey, so I could, in theory, go through another playthrough. I was just worried that they would scale up the difficulty too much. Oh, it's a mandated one. Bonk. There we go. Now I'm curious. I'm going to take a look at the menu for that one, because there's the 3 tigers. Vanguard. That's where you fight Erlong and his brothers. The dual bosses. The Longs. 4 monks. It's strange they don't have anything for, say, Yellow Brow. Because they do for... I guess those are all bug-type ones. Although that's drastically unfair having to fight the Scorpion Lord. Because he's a hard one. Might try one of those next. Menus? Because the thing with Erlong is he's actually the secret boss. You have to beat 4 other mini-bosses before you can unlock him. And defeating him actually changes the end game. There's 2 endings to the game. There's the one where the cycle perpetuates, and there's the other where you break free. And Erlong is essential for the break free mode. And I'll have to look it up, but in the challenge modes, I noticed I had one that was kind of questioned out. And where I've completed the game, I don't know how to unlock that. I wonder if I have to beat all the other challenges first. Because that was one of the secrets for the Return of the Rivals, is you had to beat them at least once, either in your first or second playthrough or whatever playthrough you're on, in order for them to be challengeable again. So I'm curious what they've done here. And I have done no prep work for this fight, so let's see if I can do this one. Because he's got an invincibility bar of pain. I think you won that bet, to be honest. That sounded like an advert. Yeah, it's strange. Although that's the first of that tactic that I've encountered. So I'll give him credit for originality. I do love the Erlang fight because he is specifically designed to thwart every one of your abilities. And it's such a cinematic fight too. I don't think it's a bot. I think it might be somebody posing as they know a guy who knows a guy. Come on, Erlang. Right. They named it, so I'd be curious to look up if that was even a Twitch streamer. Erlang is a really cool fight. It's not that he's troublesome, it's just there's a gimmick to him, and I don't have any of the gimmick stuff on. Because see, the second bar he has is actually a shield. And he's impervious for the most part while that shield is up. You see how I'm kind of deflecting off of him?
当今苦志，
And sure, you can whittle down the shield, but it gradually regenerates. So the trick is to have one of your summons help break that down, particularly like the
人
bat,
心一念，
because it can freeze him in place, allowing you some pretty cheap hits. I poorly dodged all of that. I do have the life-saving strand on, so I might be able to try this attempt again. The question is, do I want to? Because again, I don't have the gimmick stuff on.
由人造，天何干？
And see how minimal damage that does even with the shield?
弄刀玩火的小妖，不配在我面前跳。
And when he goes into that tiger mode, he can actually rip you straight out of your transformation.
What
are we doing?
无绳约不可解。如今我终于明白，树之自己，唯有自己。
That was reckless. Yeah, Erlang's kind of weird in that he's got two different kind of transformations. One where he's a lion, and then another where he's the tiger. It's not over yet, because I have that strand on. Let's see if I can do this and not squander it. Quick break from that, and let this... Oh no. There we go. And in the base game, he actually has two parts to this fight. Technically a three-parter, where you fight him in his lion form, you fight the four gods, and then you fight him again to finish the fight. So it is a long stretch. And I had to use the life-saving strand on that one, but overall not bad. I will say that one wasn't nearly as intense as the first time you fight him, because he'd just delete your health bar. Oh, well, thank you. Again, that's on the easiest difficulty, so I can't really claim too much credit for it. But it's nice to kind of have that sense of challenge again, because he's, even on the lowest difficulty, an interesting one. And I'll show you the items that I typically use against him. Because when I go through and fight him on the medium difficulty, I'll definitely be using the appropriate strategies. Like there's an armor set that allows you to increase, it's not your focus, but it's your ki, or I can't pronounce it, but it's romanized as QI. And that's different from your magic bar. It's what controls whether you can summon the white or not. And getting that to rebuff itself fairly regularly during a fight is really nice. So now that I'm free from the loading screen, it's... let me see if I see it. This one. the gold embroidered shirt. Because when you wear all 4 pieces, when you do crit hits and defeats, it's a small amount of ki, that brings that back. So that helps tremendously during that fight. Likewise, having, let's see, this bat attached does it as well, because it actually freezes the opponent in place, and you can get in some really cheap shots on him while that's active by using your just spam button. So that's really nice. Everything looks lighter here. I wonder if the latest update to the shaders caused that. I might have to tinker with those settings later on. But where we're going, it's actually fortuitous that it's lighter. Because now we're going to go to the Spider Hollow, which is one of my favorite, I say areas, but I really hate the enemies here. You definitely need a flamethrower. I moved out of the way slightly to get a drink, and the VTuber decided to react to it. Whoops. Interesting. It's actually daylight here. Because when you first arrive here in the game, it's nighttime. Because you're arriving at the time of a banquet. Interesting. It would be really pretty to see it during the daylight. Yeah, I really like this setting. Because they have this kind of feudal manor look to it. And it's absolutely gorgeous. With the exception of all the spider webs. So that's the way forward. Let me walk backwards to show you. I kind of like it during the day, although it's really pretty at night. You know what I think it is? I think plot-wise, where I've removed the talismans and kind of freed this area, that might be why it's now daylight. I didn't think about that. Because in the lore, the heavens decreed that the spiders would be subjected to dwell below and imprison them. And as you kind of go through and fight your way through the underground, you actually remove several of those talismans, thus freeing them. So interesting. It looks completely different during the day. See if I can still jump down this way, or I may have to teleport using the shrine. Because I don't have my lady to save me. There we go. Because originally when you jump down here, you get protected by a web net. And apologies in advance for anyone who has arachnophobia. You may want to tune out of this next section. Because there's all kinds of creeps and crawlies. Damn, who shot that? I thought so. I still managed to swipe him. There we are. This dude's nasty. But minus the bugs, see how pretty this area is? Where it's got a perpetual night and the kind of just the building structures I really like. I think there's a shrine this way. And see, that's what I meant with the fall damage. Sometimes it applies, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's this way down? Or no, this is where you wake up, where the spider saved you. And she's actually really sweet of where she drops you off in a nice little bed and gives you medicine and leaves you to your own devices. And did I have to spring that ambush? No, but I want to just destroy all of these nasty little things. Because they're gross. Oh, no worries. Trying to remember where the next drop down is anyway. I thought it was that way, but I'm mistaken. So again, that goes back down to the resting area. I thought it was up and around, but it may not be. You, I remember. If memory serves, he actually drops an item. And I wish you could hit your buddy, but sadly, doesn't seem to be the case. See if I can take care of this archer real quick. And the bad part with this area is you can get in trouble real quick with the enemies luring each other. Handle the archer first. There'll be enough little things spitting at me as is. Let's see how this does. 2 for 1, nice. And there should be one more. That one more burst. I could be mistaken though. There we go. We're almost to another shrine. I think this is just on the other side. I always have to pause with anticipation with those because I'm just so leery of like, oh boy, are you going to be something that attacks me? Sorry for the jitter on the spider webs. We're gradually making our way down. There we go. And perfect timing too. I figured I'll get to this shrine and then take a quick break myself. So let me go ahead and activate this one. And then, let's see, do this real quick. And I will likewise be right back. No, and we just missed each other on that one. Sorry about that. Alright. Should be getting back into things. Good news is you didn't miss much in your brief depart. Just made it through a little bit further. Down into the depths we go. Trying to remember, we just dropped down there, so I think this is the next path. Or I just made one big loop. Ah, thank you. Likewise, welcome back. did rest at the shrine, so enemies should have respawned. I see you up there, nasty thing. Knock the wings right off of that one. Sorry, Mr. Mantis, my charge hits a little bit harder. And I don't think the scorpion up here would respawn, because he is a not a remembrance boss, but one that unlocks a charm. The bad part with this fight is there's these little cocoons that hatch halfway through, so it becomes a 4 against 1 very quickly. I hear footsteps, but... I think if you just do enough damage, they won't actually rupture into a creature. This is. Well, almost. This is the kind of village leading up to their home. They have a nice little burrow underground. Oh, me too. She's an absolutely well-designed character. And I wonder if she's like the reincarnation of WuKong's love. That's why the heavens tried to keep them apart. But that's just speculation on my part. I have no grounds to support that. And once we get to a later shrine, I'll have to show you this delightful little bit of cheese for level grinding. That involves those nasty things. Still managed it. Oh, and I'm poisoned. Lovely. Forgot I had a tonic constantly on through this area. Just because everything induces poison. Which makes sense, as nasty as they are, but... eh. And this is where one of her cutscenes are, where there's these lanterns here saying, "Big day! Big day!" And she silences them with a single dagger throw. And surprisingly, she actually was honest. There was legitimate treasure behind that door. As well as one of the most gorgeous views in the game. It's right up there with Chapter 1's view of the mountainside. And were it not for all the insect eggs, this would be a nice place. Make a little house rooted next to the tree. That'd be pretty. But you'd have to do some massive cleanup first. Because that elder worm went to town. I mean, it's prolific how many eggs it laid. So that's where the scorpion is. I think that's just one big circle that I've made. I think I'll cheat and actually teleport. That's towards the bone vault. Let's go to the relief. Because this is another area that I spent quite a bit of time. Was that yellow long? It took me, goodness, probably 30, 40 attempts at least the first time I fought him. And I tried every combination of things. So yeah, let's go ahead and knock some of these out. Starting with the second sister. Which I do love the art for him. I wish it was a little bit more consistent from chapter to chapter or from character to character, but I can't complain about it just because it is such a enriching experience to have a lore book. The main complaint I'll give Game Science is that they didn't have the forethought to have enough merchandise. I want all kinds of things from Black and WuKong. Fight with the pretty ladies. Well, they're not so pretty once they reveal their true selves, but... I guess you can make the argument that beauty's in the eye of the beholder, because Baji fell in love with her when she was even a spider. Which again, the ending of chapter 4 just rips your heart out. I love the way they did that. Especially when you go back to the previous area and find that Baji leaves a kind of relic or a remembrance for her. This thing's just gross. He's got a weirdly human face. Yeah, that's what's responsible for all the eggs in this area. It's definitely one of those kill it with fire. And I can't remember if this is actually the one you fight in the bone pit, or if it's one of Erlong's brothers. Because if it's the one in the bone pit, I think it's misnamed. It's not a centipede at all. It's actually a millipod, or a isopod. Let's see where we are. Okay, yeah, so this is the isopod. I don't think this is the centipede. see, except, well, it's bipedal, so it's not really. And this part just destroyed me my first time because of all these little guys. Because they swarm you, poison you, and murder you pretty quickly. Ooh, we traded. And this is another one that was kind of a strange fight, where I'm surprised it can use the hand as such a prehensile tail. And I have no idea what kind of creature it is. It looks like it's a fusion between a moth, a bat, a centipede, and a bodhisattva's hand. I'm trying to remember, this is the right hand, where you get the left hand at, because you actually need both in order to unlock one of the gourds. The scary part is when it gets to be about half health, and then the rest of it comes down. Or is this a two-parter? I think it's a two-part. Past the nastiness. It was just delayed. And the bad part is if you're on the opposite end of it, that poison is pretty detrimental. And I love the cutscene that follows it of where it tries to flee, but the spider sister has other plans for it and actually turns it into a bridge. Oh yeah, all these are in this chapter too. Oh boy, we're in for some fun fights. I'll do one more warm-up before the yellow long, because he's quite the challenge. I may even change my summon beforehand. But let's see. While that's loading, I'll take a quick sip. You got me first. That's okay. This frog does poison, if I remember correctly. Yeah. the New West. I'm just double checking I got all of those. I think so. Yeah. I'm hoping this one's not too awful. I'll go in as is. I may have to switch out my summon just so I can survive his onslaught. He has this one particular move set where he essentially becomes a torpedo and lunges at the player several times. And I'm not very good at dodging that one. The more I do this, the more I am thinking I might make a second playthrough, just starting from a base level. Because this character is quite over-leveled. And I know it's not too much fun watching all the loading screens. So if I go through on medium difficulty, that might hinder it, but... let's get this started. And this is the Yellow Long, who's inhabiting the body of a soothsayer. So that's why he looks more human than the rest. Just playing the whole level naked. I could remove all the level advancements. That's an idea. Got him on fire at least. He may yet transform. Let's see if I can get him out of it. There we go. Yeah, I didn't really get to showcase all of his abilities. Wanting to go to the New West, and I forget we're in the Web Bridge. Yeah, I'm debating, because on this profile, I'm on the Stone Monkey for the second time, and I was worried about how New Game Plus 2 would be, just fearing that the difficulty would ramp up too much, but New Game Plus 1 was just a stroll in the park. And I purposely left it here so that way when if and when they release DLC, I can teleport around just like we have been. But I'm thinking I might make a new playthrough on a different profile, just so I can really start from the first beginnings and not have all my unlocks. Yes, for a bit of spoilers, when we enter the Webbed Hollow, Baji gets struck with a needle that slowly corrupts him. And we're trying to save him. Because the spider lady wants him back. Because in the original Journey to the West, the Monkey King took him from her. And when you originally fight him in this form, he's at the Spider Palace, and then he runs away to turn into his much larger boar form, which he's about to do here. Yep, second phase. And this one comes with its own bag of tricks. Such as that impervious catfish. Because while he's in that mode, I can't do damage to him. And the rhino. The hard part with this is, while he's in these states, you can't damage him, and your movement speed is about halved, especially when you roll, because you're rolling in slop. So it makes the fight a little bit more challenging. But then he tires himself out. And this needle is actually the needle that punctures Zubaji. You take to the past when you go to Purple Mountain to have it restored in order to use it against the boss in this round, or in this realm. And if you don't have the needle, you're in for some fun times. Because that boss's phase 2 not only depletes your health bar, but your stamina bar as well. And this is the Violet Spider herself. The mother of all the other ones. Quite literally. Yeah, the final boss of Chapter 4, he's an interesting challenge. I think they call him the Centipede Taoist. In Phase 1, he's not bad. It's really cinematic because the sisters actually revolt against him, and they help you in the first part of the fight. And this one, it's not too bad of a fight, but there's one move in particular that she can just one-shot you with. How we do this? You and I are in agreement. Burn it with fire. The mother spider is the sweet little old lady, where she's got gray hair. She's the one that originally wanted Baji back, and why her daughters kidnapped him. I think her youngest daughter actually belongs to Baji. Because in their cutscene, he's insulting the kid and like, "Ooh, sire is such an ugly little thing." And I think it's actually his. Alright, we're kind of advancing outside of the hollow at that point. So what I'll do is I'll exit that and we can traverse for a little bit. I think so. Because the Violet Spider and Baji had a tryst for a while. And at least in this game's lore, had he not gone on the journey with WuKong originally, he may have stayed happily in the hollow with her. And here's the arena for the Yellow Long. This is one of my favorite areas. The only regret I have is I really hate how they made the Yellow Long look. He looks like a mangy dragon, which I suppose you could argue lore-wise, where he spent so long on the prophet's garbs as threads and other things he became threadbare. But I wish they'd given him more pizzazz or look to about him. I think it's a departure from the lore of where, yes, WuKong and Baji did encounter the spiders and murdered several of the spider sisters. I don't think there was actually a long relationship with them. But it still makes for an interesting tale. It thickens the plot for sure. So I think I'm going backwards here. Because that leads out of the cave. I think I will only be making my way upwards. This way. There we go. That's where the coffins are. I got turned around, so onward we go. So that's the dead end, and this is forward. We're just about out of the hollow. Though I think I may have skipped a meditation spot. And down we go. Oh yes, the bridge. You see, there's our palace. Kind of nestled in the midst of the hollow. Don't think there's a cave big enough like this. I'm trying to think of most cave systems, and I think you're right, where some of them may be as deep, but they won't have this much traversal area. This is quite large. Because this is where we first fight, or this is where we get the cutscene for Baji. We get to see the sisters quarrel. And then we make our way down to go help him. Oh yeah, this is an absolute gorgeous cave and environment, but to your point, I would love to visit it, however, not in its current state. Could you imagine encountering even just like these lesser enemies, a spider of this size? Ugh, no thank you. I don't know how Australians do it. Oh, there's two of you. No wonder. Get them to the aggro off of me. You'd willingly brave all this just for them? That is quite the hurdle. There we are. I was trying to get to their palace, as I really like this area. This is what I was telling you about earlier, where, were it not for the creatures that inhabit it, I would love to live in a place like this. We have this vast courtyard and then the surrounding structures. I really adore that design. It does make me wonder how this tree blossoms down here. That, and I guess, in modern building structures, there's some segmentation, sure, but this one where there are physically freestanding buildings within the palace grounds, you can really compartmentalize things of, like, for example, say if you work from home, you can have your office one area, your bed in another. Yeah, it's just a ghost town now. Which is its own kind of piece. I wouldn't mind. And the music through here, too. I don't know how well it's being picked up, but it's faint, but there. So what happened to the fourth sister? Interestingly enough, after you break all 4 seals that condemn this place, only 3 of the sisters appear in the final battle. The 4th does not. So I think the speculation online, based on a later cutscene, is that the, I can't remember if they call him the Jade Emperor's right hand, or the crane that's supposed to be Lao Tzu abduct her. And they threaten to turn her into a pill for WuKong. But I don't know her fate. I'm hoping that's what the DLC might be centered around. Because we don't know where she goes. Presumably she's still alive, though. They did confirm that they were going to have DLC, but not when it was to be released. Fans were speculating that it would come out around Chinese New Year, and where that's long since passed, we're now hoping that it comes out on the anniversary of release, so that's going to be around August. But sadly, they said, Game Science said at least, that they're going to have one DLC and then move on to another title, rather than continue on with Black Myth. It'll still be in, I think, the same era of mythos, or mythology, but it will be a different character and a different storyline. This is the arena where you fought Baji. In a sense it is, especially where they gave us such a complete and wholesome story. I have no complaints. The fact that they even considered DLC is a bonus, because the base game is such an enriched experience. You're not wanting for anything other than more. Because I honestly can't get enough of the game. And I think it's going to do well for years to come as well, because it's got the replayability to it built in, of where it's encouraged in order to unlock the different forms of the relics and other things like that. Because you don't even get WuKong mode until you play through it on your 5th time through. So they did a really good job with the design as well. Yeah, you only needed the one. What are they on, like, Fast and Furious 11 now? In so many years. And that head is where you get one of the Skandas. It is amusing to me that they tried to have such a wholesome message in such a high-octane drama. It's almost like the two are juxtaposed on purpose. That's probably giving them far too much credit. I think that just circles back around, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm supposed to be going up. And this is the arena where you fight the violet spider. Excuse me. Well, this is after we fight Mom. You have this lovely cutscene of where all of the children come out and try to assist. So you have to flee for your life through here. Sorry, I got stuck on the F's. You have to run through here as fast as you can because you can die. And then the fourth sister saves you once more. But thankfully, we can go through unbesmirched. Well, I'm sure they would treat you very sweetly. But I would worry that they would have the same kind of mentality as a praying mantis. They wine and dine you, but then it ends tragically. And I don't think I can walk from one arena to another. Because I think the cutscene is what transports you. Let me pop back so I can go on. But then again, while they are Yogwai, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil. Because Gwai are just spirits. Unlike Western demons, which are inherently evil. And who knows, the harem may last for years. You could pull a Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones and long to die into the arms of the woman you love. Not a bad ending. Fair enough. I don't think I would be brave enough to stay either. Yeah, because there's the broken path. I am sure she would be very particular for the treatment of her daughters. So she would be a terrifying mother-in-law. Yeah, 8 arms, 8 legs, and they have the webs to bind you. So even if you could thwart them, even temporarily, it wouldn't be a prolonged fight. Not to mention they have such a tight sisterly bond. I'm sure if you wronged one of them, they'd be inclined to come to the other's aid. Yeah, the web and the fangs. And if it's like most spiders, they may even have a paralysis element to it too, to their bite. Depending on what kind of venom they have. And here's that snake tiger thing I was telling you about earlier. Talking about a weird creature design. Because it's got all the attributes of a tiger, but snake-like. And I'm trying to recall in the journal, I think it's under Lesser Yogwai. Because it's like snake something. Because these aren't alphabetized. I think they're in the order in which you encounter them. Yeah, here it is. The Snake Sheriff. So let's see. So they used him as an example, where allegedly the master punished him and that's what he became. Interesting. Maybe. I think there's another one around here. But yeah, it's an interesting design for sure. These are just nasty. So many apprentices talk bad about their masters. I wonder if that's kind of the plot device or just natural occurrence of the hubris of the student. Where they think they know it all until their master shows them a lesson that can humble them. Then again, there are just some bad masters, so I don't want to say that there's not. I'm trying to remember the old phrase of only a fool thinks himself wise. There we go. Didn't want to get stuck. Nasty things. If you've ever seen the movie Strange Magic, admittedly that song's kind of ruined for me now, just because of their heavily use of it. I thought that'd be too short. Let's try that again. This is probably still too short. His patrol is leading him further and further away. Fine. Strange Magic, I think it came out in the mid-2010s, and it's a animated feature. It's actually not too bad. Oh, they don't respawn here? That's a shame. I don't think it was widely advertised because it didn't do well at the box office. Which is impressive to me because a film can net in millions of dollars and yet it still not be a considered success. And how did I find out about it? I went down a YouTube rabbit hole one day where I was looking up Smalllands content, trying to find more details about the game, and where it has a kind of fairy adjacent theme. It was popped up in the recommended for you section. Otherwise, you're right, I probably wouldn't have found it either. I can't remember if it had George Lucas involved with it, but it had a major film director in it. That's why people were surprised it was such a flop. Which, again, it's not a bad film. It's definitely a B/C tier. And now wood. I wonder if he's still up here. Gary Rydstrom. That's not one of the major names I know, so maybe not him. Or maybe that's not why it was popular. May have had a main actor or something in it. And thanks for looking that up. That increases my mana. I have to double check that one, because that's a talisman that I remember having to farm for. Yeah, it increases maximum mana. Oh, has he now? I probably recognize his works, just not his name. That makes sense, because I'm terrible with names. Whoa. Ah, makes sense. Okay, because I thought he was involved in a lot of major productions. That's why they were surprised that it didn't end well for it. Yeah, that's a lot of the big ones. You've essentially encompassed the 90s and early 2000s right there. From works like Titanic, Saving Private Ryan, and Jurassic Park. There you go. The writing was a little bit rough, as well as some of the acting scenes. Admittedly, when I watch it, there's a couple characters who I just skip over their scenes, and I have a much more enjoyable experience. Like the supposed villain is one I tend to just skip over. Because it's essentially the prince trope gone evil. Oh, what'd you see? Ah, wrong one. I have to travel again because I went to the wrong shrine. Ah, gotcha. Well, the aforementioned titles have really good soundtracks, so I can see that. Alright, so let me walk over and show you this other nice hovel. Yeah, I probably shouldn't call it a hovel, because it is a nice little area. One I wouldn't mind inhabiting. Although where I am a fan of having things delivered, living up high into the mountains, that would be a bit of a challenge. Because I think it would be outside of many zones. Right? I thought this was a nice little house. It's kind of sequestered into the side of the mountain. And you get this lovely view. Let me see if I can see it. Can't really see it from here, but... There we go. Having that outside your back door. That would be nice. And then this is the path to the secret area. This is where you get to fight the centipede guy twice. See, I wouldn't mind living in the realm of Black Myth Wukong, so long as I too was also a guai or a mythical beast myself. If I was just a squishy little human, I think I'd be at a severe disadvantage. But living in a world with such rich lore would be nice. Oops. Did I never come claim this? I thought there'd be a meditation spot around here somewhere, but... Oh, most of them did, yes. Because humans and Gwai exist simultaneously. Yeah, I think in this telling of the tale, in the kind of reincarnation cycles, if you fail as a human, you can be reincarnated as a Gwai, because the goal of the Gwai is becoming more human. That way they can reach towards enlightenment. That's what happened to Zubaji, where he originally started out within the celestial court, and then transgressed against Chang'e, the moon goddess, and was sent down to Earth as a human, continued his transgressions, and then was devolved into a Gwai. I'm staying with you. Because in truth, I'd much rather be a Gwai. Far fewer responsibilities at the very least. That is debatable. Am I a Gwai as a ghost? Because that makes me wonder, what is Elder Jinchi and the Wandering White? Is there more spectral ghost type things? Now, if I had more animalistic features, maybe. That's a good question. I'll have to ponder on that one. But now we've reached my favorite area of the game. The Purple Mountains. I adore this area. The Spider Hollow's nice because of the architecture and the ambiance of where it's perpetual night. But this area where it's perpetual autumn, this was just breathtaking. All the reds and oranges. It was so nice. And you met a friendly snake lady who didn't want to kill us for once. And even just the kicking up of the leaves as you walk through. Such a lovely attention to detail. A calm little forest. But no, I would happily make my house here. And in fact, this is usually where I leave the character when I'm not actively playing, just in the Valley of Blooms. But I think I'm overdue for some boss fights. Let's see. Webbed Ridge. Yeah, the Venom Taoists is what they call him. I wonder if in spawning this one he'll have all of his little minions with him, or if it'll just be him. Let's find out. Because I think my goal for today will be is I'll wrap up Chapter 4's bosses. So I've still got a few to go through. Beat the beetle. He's actually kind of got a sad story of where he himself became cursed to be a Gwai, but never lost his loyalty. And there was a soldier who was sent out to fell him, a certain death mission, of course, and the commander beetle ended up
来取
training
我性
him.
命。
Oh, he doesn't have his minions. Okay. Because when you first fight him, he actually has a kind of squadron of people that he's training. And they all join you in the fight.
别愣着，速速上前，了解我吧！ 活了，出不去。
And in his dying, he says, "At last I'm free." So it makes me wonder where he was cursed to be a Gwai if he longs to be human again. So maybe in the next cycle. Because even during the fight, he gives you little tips where he's guarding most of the time just to see how well you fight. And then likewise, I like the story of this character as well, of where she and her daughters lived out in that kind of mountain hovel, and her neighbors rather, tried to take over her property because she fell behind on bills and other things. And prior to that, her daughters had befriended a ginseng Gwai who had taken a liking to the family. Well, the mother fell ill, and the ginseng Gwai took care of them in the sense of gave her some herbal medicine, prolonging her life, but I suspect transformed her into what we see now. And they did get revenge upon the neighbors. That just deletes health bars. That's absurd. And then the neat thing with this fight is this is a two-parter of where you originally encounter him much earlier in the caves, but you have to be careful while fighting him because you have to knock off 4 of his arms in order to unlock this vambrace. Because if you fell him here in his second fight, you're locked out of that item for your entire playthrough until your next new game. So I've seen some strategies online of where people use a unupgraded weapon or staff in order to make sure that they can fell him in the appropriate way. Oh, I missed. All that charge up and I fail. You see how we've knocked off his arms?
明白了，入卵飞升，无用的直接去了。是我上了那老道士的当，刚才的赌斗不作数。想知如何克那魔君，就与我堂堂正正打一场。
It really is. I love all of the designs.
球斗。
They did such a phenomenal job with even the side characters. because he actually stands guard over Purple Mountain. And in his dying breath, he reveals the painting that allows you to traverse it. Because it was all a scheme set forth by Erlong. And that's why you have, like, the Venom Taoist, the White-Clad Noble, and a few others fight you throughout your journey, just to see if you really are fit to take WuKong's place. So I think we've got this one, the Dawn Star, and the Last Taoist, and that's chapter 4. This is another one where it's a 2-part fight. We actually get to see somebody give up their humanity to become a Guai.
真好，真好！由你来做我蜕变飞升的头份血石，再好不过。
So yeah, you can become a Guai, but you might turn into a Guai like that. Which is rather nasty. Oh, the Scorpion Lord. I forgot about him. There's a neat part with this guy in that you can choose not to fight him. All you have to do is activate him and fail once in the fight, and he'll come to help you in the final boss of the secret area with the Dusk Veil. He perishes after phase 1, of course, but I was a tryhard and actually defeated him because I encountered him randomly. I didn't know who he was or what he did. It was just another foe to fight, so I took care of him in my playthrough and then realized later on that, oh wait, he could have helped me out. Same thing's true with the Stone Vanguard and Shigandan. They can actually fight each other and fell one another. So I made it much harder on myself. This guy is nasty. I don't think I'll be able to reach him with this. I'm surprised. Even on the lowest difficulty, he's still a challenge. Because he has the kind of perfect combination of he's fast and he inflicts poison. Oh, well, thank you. Yes, that's just the medium. And then this is a cool boss. Lore-wise, this is the Dawnstar Corrupted, who was once a kind of divine rooster-type being, and he's been devolved into this. And I think it's due to the Taoist meddling. Dodged too soon on that one. Probably should heal in just a moment, just so I can use the flask. There we go. And let's get him into phase 2. Even the moon decides to hide from this fight. He eventually jumped down with his dagger. There we go. And he was a Yogwai king. Alright. And let's see. I think we just have the Taoist left. Yep, the 100-eyed Taoist. Let's see how we do with this one. Shifted my chair a little bit. Hopefully the VTuber doesn't go crazy. Oh, good. And I think I've all but decided I will go ahead and set up a new profile so I can play through the game again, because the missing cutscenes are really detrimental to this.
区区弥留，妄想伤我，他们的债就由你来偿吧。
Oh, it missed. Interesting. Try that again, shall we? There we go. That's what it was supposed to do. Alright, it's going underground. So I have to be careful, because wherever he appears... Oh, it still shows this cutscene. Uh-oh. Because I've already used the needle. Okay, it looks like we're gonna be alright then. There. I'm guessing they fixed the hitboxes on that one, because the first time I went through that fight, it seemed like every other thing missed. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do, is I'll set up a new profile to play through the game again. Because it'd be worth it. Challenging, but worth it. Because I won't have all the luxuriousness of my current build. Yeah, I think so. I think I'll start at a true level 1 character, though. That way it gets the full effect. I think I've satisfied all of those. At least on the low levels, because I do plan on going through on harder difficulties, but my main goal right now is just to defeat them all once more. Because I don't think you get anything for it other than just the thrill of it. So yeah, that's chapters 3 and 4 bosses. Let's see if there's one of these. That's the last boss. I wonder why they have just collective strength for that one. That's a strange combination. Got the 4 monks. That one might be next, but I know that one's going to be difficult. That's kind of what we did with just 1 extra. So I think I'll save those. That might be for what we do next time. Trying to think. Let's see. So next time we'll go through chapter 5 and 6. And then just probably start on more of the challenges. But I think this is where I'll call it for today. And I have to give you a special shout out, Razorek, for keeping me company the entire stream. You have been an absolute delight, especially where you were waiting for me to start. That really made my day. So thank you for taking the extra time to do that. I really appreciate it. You don't need one, but you're going to get one, just because I, again, really am grateful for it. But before we fully part, let me show you this last cutscene. Because where you said you haven't seen the game past a certain point, I'll happily show you this. So let me see if I can get to it. You are delightful company. Thank you again. Just because we were talking about the art style and the loveliness of it, this is the ending for Chapter 4, and it's one of my all-time favorites. So let me see if I can get to it. So we'll quit, return to title. Because while Monster Hunter was kind and it'll let you replay the cutscenes, Black Myth WuKong only lets you replay the final scenes. Which I'm grateful that they did, but... And this one's rosy cheeks, gray hair. And it's about Tsubaji. Because that's what he was as a Celestial Court member.
月光在初见的角动，
月光在惜别的城楼，
思念是眉间的痒，
月年年望相思，寻常最长久。
And that's the Violet Spider when she was young.
汹涌如江流，
忐忑似轻舟，有你相伴这一路，多么多么自由。
He was banished from the Celestial Court for being a creep.
云卷
云舒
风起，
一周，
从立春到立秋，
在那一刻我爱上你的所有。
Becomes immortal and does the same thing again.
忘了是心田的狗，
记得是老饕的酒，
知音是相拥无言。
愿天黑花当明，总归说不够。
And then has a chance reuniting with his long-lost maiden. Although time has changed both him and her.
喧闹如江流，
宁静似轻舟，
有你相伴这一路，多么多么无忧。
晚霜
朝露
昙花，
苍狗，
黑
也不过白昼。
听错了风，又怎么会有以后？
飘渺似轻舟，
清凉如蒸馏，
你若放手这一路，可怜我有多久？
欢喜
我真爱中绽放或者不是，永远无分下一世莫回眸。
真情
满流
假意
为狗，
相守，
今生有求。
下一世相遇，
请别再会。
I told you it was sad. Because they did not have to go that in depth with that, because my goodness. Such a lovely, sad little tale. Because again, it wasn't in the original Journey to the West, but it's an embellishment that's so welcomed because it adds so much depth to a seemingly simple character. But it is a kind of, again, lovely song, and where they're kind of pleading with each other, saying, don't say no, and please say no. That way the cycle doesn't keep perpetuating. Just piece de resistance. Chef's kiss. So I don't think I can top that one any further, so I will go ahead and cut my stream here. And thank you again for the lovely company, and if you happen to be watching the VOD later, definitely appreciate it. But until then, I hope you have a very lovely rest of your day and an even better weekend. Take care, and we'll see each other soon.